edition of the Sports Sense podcast. Super Bowl weekend. Woo! Super Bowl tomorrow. Pretty excited about that. Tyler's back this week from a trip to Las Vegas. How you doing, Tyler?
Doing swell.
How was Las Vegas?
It was fun.
Nice.
Good times.
Didn't lose all your money, did you?
No, not this time.
So how are you guys doing today? We're all anticipating Super Bowl 43 tomorrow. Well, at least, or not 43, 53 tomorrow. I think we're all, a little tired of the Patriots being in there, at least for me personally. And I've seen a lot of attention nationally not be so excited about this game. I personally am, I love Super Bowl every year. It's football. It's the biggest game of the year. It's the best of the best going against each other. I don't know how anyone couldn't be interested in a football game, but or in the Super Bowl. But I'm personally pretty excited about this one. Are you feeling the same way, Tyler? Or how are you feeling about this year's Super Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of it's like the same old Patriots again in the Super Bowl, but it seems to always be the same level of interest for me. I think it's going to be a good one. This is a good matchup.
Mm-hmm. Now, before we get too deep into that, I want to get Tyler's impressions on the championship games, as he wasn't here last week to discuss that. Just to recap, last week we talked about in the LA-New Orleans game how there was a pass interference call that was missed late in the game that caused a lot of controversy. And in the Kansas City-New England game, there was an overtime fiasco. It wasn't a fiasco, but basically the Patriots got the ball and won the game, and the Chiefs didn't even touch the ball on offense. I mean, it's the same thing that happened in the Patriots-Falcons Super Bowl a couple of years back, where the Falcons didn't even touch the football in overtime. So, Tyler, I want to get your opinion on those situations. We'll start with the Rams and Saints game. Like, what do you think happened there? Do you think what's with the controversy? What do you think should have happened? What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, that was tough to watch. I mean, I was shocked that it wasn't called. I mean, the ref he saw it with his own eyes standing right there. It happened right in front of him. I'm kind of on the side of people that are kind of annoyed of the Saints who are complaining and trying to sign a petition to, like, I don't even know what they want or what they expect to happen because of a bad call. I mean, so many things go into determining the result of a game. You can't just pin it on one play, but that was kind of hard to watch, though. I mean,
mm-hmm. Yeah, as I talked about last week, I felt like it was the wrong call. It kind of, maybe in live action, it kind of seemed a bit bang, but when you were right there and you saw it, like, in slow motion, like, there was no doubt about it. And you can't review every single pass interference call in the game, and the game would never end if that were the case. But maybe you know this, Tyler, because I didn't last week, but do you know if refs get penalized at all for missing big calls in big games? Is there any sort of penalty system put in place?
I don't think so. It does kind of make you wonder, though. I mean, I was kind of mulling it around, like, should there be some kind of replay or some kind of opportunity to challenge certain calls, like pass interference, or, I mean, I know it kind of messes with the game and stuff. There's already so many things that slow down the game, and so many other penalties that probably shouldn't be in the game, but it's not like this is the first time. This happens a lot where a PI call has been blown and a team suffers for it.
Yeah, both ways. You get a bogus pass interference call or you get a no call.
Yeah.
I think you bring up a really good point. I think that might be something to look up or it could be something that a coach could challenge, because you're already limited in the number of challenges you get per game. If you're an NFL coach, and pass interference could be something that's challengeable but not reviewable by the booth. That could be a solution to that issue. The the issue has no clear cut solution. We kind of went into that last week. We were trying to find out if there was a solution to the problem. I proposed possibly putting in a penalty system for refs. They don't get to coach the next, or don't get to ref the next week's game, or they get to pay, or they get a fine or something like that to hold them accountable to make the right plays in the right situations. But I do like possibly making pass interferences reviewable, at least for a coach's challenge, because pass interference is it's not very judgment. It's pretty obvious when there's pass interference and when there isn't.
Yeah, it's definitely reviewable.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely one of those. It's not a speed of the game type call like maybe holding would be, because you could call holding every play if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really good point, Tyler. Do you have any? Other than making it challengeable, are there any other solutions you think that could be there?
I like the idea of maybe putting in a system where you penalize refs. I saw an article pointing out how like 4 of the refs were from LA.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that.
And who knows if refs are biased or not, but maybe a penalty system like that would help them not be biased if by chance they are.
Mm-hmm. Well, the biggest thing about that call is that the Saints would have won the game if that pass interference call. All they had to do was run out time and kick a field goal. I guess it wasn't a guarantee, but the Saints more than likely would have won the game if the pass interference call goes their way.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a Saints-Patriots Super Bowl, and very different. But I also want to point out, New Orleans went up, was it 14-0 or 13-0? It was 2 scores they were up, and did like nothing the rest of the game. I'm not trying to harp on the refs too much here, because in my opinion, New Orleans blew that game. They had a very good control of that game early. They controlled the tempo, and tell you what, it was another fake punt, except reversed on him this time, that really changed the momentum and got things going for the Rams. But the Saints did not play up to their potential, especially in the second half of that game.
Yeah, for sure. I don't even want to give too much credit to the Rams for coming back. It was the Saints just kind of let them in, left the door open for them.
Mm-hmm. And Drew Brees thrown two interceptions in that game, one in overtime. The Saints got the ball to start overtime. It's not like the Rams got the ball, drove down the field, and scored and won the game. It's the Saints got the ball, and Brees threw an interception. And he threw an interception in regulation that also was a big play for the Rams that helped them get back in the game. And I yes, the refs may have blown that call, but the Saints didn't do themselves any favors in that game.
No.
And then also to get your opinion on the Kansas City New England game. Good game overall in regulation, and it was a really good game. The Patriots had another good first half, and the Chiefs had an amazing second half to be able to come back and I think there were like 4 scores in the last 3 minutes of the game. It was pretty crazy into the game there to get it to overtime. Then Tom Brady gets the ball, marches it downfield, and scores a touchdown, and the game's over. Patrick Mahomes doesn't get a chance to touch the ball. He doesn't get a chance to really... the Chiefs don't really get a chance in that second half to do anything other than try to stop Tom Brady, who's been marching all over the field all day. Tyler, what do you think that there should be a change to overtime rules? Do you think they're fine the way they are? What's your opinion on the current state of the NFL overtime?
Yeah, that game was amazing. You had 2 very talented teams on both sides of the ball. And that happens every time you go into overtime. It's because you've got two great teams going up against each other, and to have it be in the end, it's where it's ultimately decided by a coin toss. Whoever gets the ball first has always seemed pretty unfair to me. I mean, people argue, well, the Chiefs' defense should have just held up and not allowed Brady to score. But I mean, I would like to see. I want to see the Chiefs' offense go up against the Patriots' defense and have that contest at the same time. So I mean, every year there's a game like this, and it opens the question of what should be done about overtime rules, because it always seems so unfair to me.
Mm-hmm. My proposition I made last week, actually went to a comment we had. Eric commented on our podcast last week, and his proposed solution was to have it work similar to basketball, where you have a set amount of time in overtime and you just play to the end. I think that's an okay rule. Or and whoever has the most points at the end of that time wins. I think that's an okay rule, but that's also if a team has ball control and controls the ball for 8 minutes. If you have a 10-minute overtime, if you have a team that controls the ball for 8 minutes, scores a touchdown, that I don't know. I feel like that doesn't quite fix the problem. I think that's another situation where the issue's still similar. But my proposal was, I think that the rule that is currently, and it was improved from a few years ago when you just had to kick a field goal to win the game. I think the rule as is should stay for regular season football. I know what the NFL wants to keep the game 3 hours for viewers and for TV. There's a ton of reasons the NFL wants to keep it 3 hours, and overtime is always going to throw that off no matter what. And so keeping it as short as possible in the regular season, I think the current rule is fine. But when you got these big games, I don't think you can keep the current rule. I think something like the college overtime. The college overtime has been my favorite overtime of any sports ever.
Definitely.
For those of you who don't know, the college football rules are each team gets the ball at 25, and you get one possession per overtime period, and if the score is equal at the end of that period, you just go to the next period, and then you go to the next period if the scores remain the same. In the third overtime, you have to start going for 2 if you score touchdowns, in an effort to try to shorten the game. Sometimes these games end in 1 overtime, sometimes they end in 7 overtimes. So I'll tell you what, those games are so fun to watch. Seeing these teams go at it in those overtime periods, and having the ball at the 25. I think for the NFL, they might want to extend it to maybe the 35. It depends on what they want to do with it. But that's been my favorite personal adaptation of any overtime rule in any sport. Tyler, is there? What do you think? What rule do you think overtime should be for the NFL?
Yeah, there's so many ways you could go about it. I thought about the time one, the option that Eric brought up. I like the college rule better, though. I mean, I would put the ball probably like at the 50 in the NFL, and give at least one possession to each team to try to score. And whether it's a field goal or a touchdown, just whoever has the most points after 2 possessions.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's more fair that way.
It's definitely more fair to both teams, as well as both offenses and both defenses go on the field. You get the true test of who's better in clutch time. And I think this might be one of those games that it might be the tipping point. I'm not saying it's going to be implemented next year or anything like that, but I think that there will be a change to the overtime rules in the coming 5 years or so. I'd say there'll be another change to where it allows the other team a possession. However, the NFL is going to do it, I don't know. I imagine it probably won't be a complete rip-off of the college current rules. So I'm just interested to see what they do with it, because I do feel like this game deserves to start and spark that discussion, because that was a big game, a conference championship. Who was going to go to the Super Bowl? And Kansas City didn't touch the ball in the second half, or in the overtime. I mean, so I think that's a huge talking point for the NFL going forward.
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to talk about for the championship games, Tyler? Is there anything else that stood out to you?
The only other talking point from that game that came up for me was the couple of or I guess the call of roughing the passer on Tom Brady.
Yes.
Where the dude's hand literally just, even before he even threw the ball's still in his hand, and the defender just kind of slaps Brady on the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And it's roughing the passer. And then previous to that, Patrick Mahomes gets leveled after throwing the ball and doesn't get roughing the passer. And that's one of my tough questions I have at the end here.
Okay.
Roughing the passer in general and what that call is all about. It's just so... It's been such a hot button issue this season, especially with my boy Clay Matthews at the beginning of this season. Just
he couldn't get a break.
And it's annoying to watch, especially when actual justified roughing the passer calls aren't called, and then the bogus ones are called.
I definitely agree that they need to protect the quarterback. That's, he is one of the most defenseless players on the field, because he's not paying attention to his surroundings. I mean, obviously good quarterbacks have good awareness, but in general, you're looking downfield looking to complete a pass. And so this guy coming from your blind side just wrecking you is not, I mean, that's not what you're paying attention to. You're paying attention to your receivers. And I agree. That was... I know you're not supposed to hit a quarterback in the head when he's you're not supposed to hit the quarterback in the head. The issue was it wasn't even like he hit him in the face mask. I mean, he tapped his helmet and came down on his shoulder. Like, it wasn't... The call was absolutely, in my opinion, bogus. It wasn't warranted whatsoever, especially when you see some of these players getting hit, even legally.
Yeah.
And I mean, you see some players get leveled, and it's a legal hit, and they don't call passing or roughing the passer on it, and but when the guy gets tapped on the shoulder, you're like, oh, flag, and that's another one. You talk about reviewing penalties, and that's a rough one to review, because there's a lot of those bang bang plays. Where the quarterback gets hit almost. Can get hit almost every play, or at least touched. The defense likes to get in the quarterback's head and to push him around, even if it's not a hit technically, but just get their hands on him, let them know that I'm here.
Yeah, it's a great tactic for the defense to... I've always counted hits on a quarterback as almost as effective as sacks, because, I mean, you don't get the yards, but you get in the quarterback's head, just like you said. I mean... it's just, I think of Alex Smith watching that and just probably just going, are you kidding me? That's not roughing the passer. I know what roughing the passer is.
Mm-hmm. I definitely feel like I could ref some of these games better than some of these refs do. It's when you see these gruesome injuries and stuff like that to the quarterback, that's what these rules are supposed to prevent, not Tom Brady getting tapped on the shoulder. That's... and you see it in all sports. The number one team, the best team, the dynasty always gets the calls, the 50-50 calls. It happens. They don't call it because there's almost like, I wouldn't say that it's like fixed or anything, but I think there's a ref bias of, they're this good, they can't be.
There definitely is.
Yeah. That's. I don't think it's intentional. I don't think that the refs are like, oh yeah, I'm not going to call that because it's the Patriots. But I think there is this bias of when you have a great dynasty like Alabama or New England or Golden State. You see it in college basketball, the number one team, the top 5 teams, if it's Duke or North Carolina or Kentucky. Sometimes they don't get calls because they're the good team, and I'm not trying to say the refs are fixing games or anything like that, but it happens. Oh, they're good, so I'm not going to call it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You see it in every sport, and so I just think it was a bit ridiculous that this past week with Tom Brady and that no call. So I 100% agree. We didn't talk about that at all last episode, actually. So I think that's a really good point you bring up, Tyler. So with that, we'll get out of the past and we'll talk about what's going on. So the Super Bowl's tomorrow. I am psyched. I am ready for this game. I'm going to my friend's house. We're gonna have cheese football and hot dogs and the typical college student Super Bowl party. Nothing too fancy, but having a good time together. So it's tomorrow. For anyone who doesn't know yet, I doubt any of you don't know, but 4:30 Mountain Time, 6:30 Eastern Time on CBS tomorrow night is the Los Angeles Rams and the New England Patriots, and it's happening in Atlanta. If I was living back in Tennessee, where I'm from, that'd be that wouldn't be too far away.
Yeah,
but I'm looking right here. Tickets as low as $2,600. I can definitely afford that right now if I don't eat for the next month. 2 months, 3 months.
How much do you eat?
I go to the nicest restaurants all over town.
Yeah.
I don't do Wendy's, man. I do Applebee's.
Oh, true.
Applebee's. So we've got the Rams playing the Patriots. First off, we'll give our predictions after we kind of preview the game a little bit. Tyler, I just want to talk to you about as far as let's just break down pure talent. On the Rams offense, we have Jared Goff at quarterback, Todd Gurley at running back, Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, and Josh Reynolds at receiver. They typically run 3 receiver sets. Cooper Kupp went out with a season-ending injury earlier in the season. I think that was a big loss for them. But all 3 of those guys have stepped up to the plate with Cooper Kupp gone. He's probably their best receiver. And tight end Tyler Higbee versus the offensive skill players of Tom Brady, Sony Michel, Julian Edelman, Chris Hogan, Philip Dorsett, and Rob Gronkowski. Who would you give the edge to just off of talent value?
Talent-wise, you definitely have to give the edge to the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense is absolutely stacked, and their offense is solid. That's a tough team.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, for sure. The thing is if you look at these names, I think the only one that I would consider a household name would be Todd Gurley. Jared Goff hasn't proven me he's a household name yet. I think he definitely could be. But I think a lot of credit goes to Sean McVay and coaching that team. He's younger than Tom Brady, and he's coaching in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He's a great coach, and he's got his team playing really well. You look at the Patriots. Julian Edelman and Rob Gronkowski, Tom Brady. Those are some big names. On the defensive side, you've got Kyle Van Noy, Dante Hightower, Patrick Chung, Devin McCourty, Jason McCourty. These are all names really well-known names around the NFL. But you look at the Rams defense, this is really where it gets to me, how good this defense is. You have Ndamukong Suh, Aaron Donald, Marcus Peters, Aqib Talib, Corey Littleton. Some of these names are just these are big names in the NFL. They were able to, a lot of them were acquired last offseason.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib from the Broncos and Chiefs. I don't think Ndamukong Suh was an addition this past offseason, I believe, as well. He's been around the league with the Dolphins and the Lions. He's really Aaron Donald. I mean, this guy might be the best defensive end in football. I mean, he's absolutely insane. And I really think this is going to be a matchup of Titans. I think some Super Bowls, I think back to, what was it, Super Bowl 41, Colts versus Bears. I mean, those were good teams, but Bears weren't going to win that game. I'm sorry. When Rex Grossman is your quarterback, you're not winning the Super Bowl. The star power on these rosters is absolutely unbelievable.
Even their special teams, they've got great kickers.
Oh yeah, I mean Greg Zuerlein. I think he's might be the best kicker this season if you take out his 4 weeks he missed with injury.
Yeah.
And Steven Gostkowski. I mean,
just clutch.
The guy doesn't miss. It's it's amazing. And I'll tell you what, a little Cinderella story for you. Cordero Patterson. He's a receiver / running back, kick returner for the Patriots. Got signed mid-season. He's kind of been a gadget player in the NFL for the past, probably, how long has it been? 8 years, 6 years, something like that. He played at the University of Tennessee. That's actually one of the reasons I'm singling him out. But when he played at the University of Tennessee, the dude was a freak of nature. Mm-hmm. You're talking about a guy who he'd get an end around, run all the way to the sideline, turn around, run back to the other sideline, cut up field 15 yards, run back to the other sideline, and score a touchdown from 40 yards out. I mean, the guy was ridiculous. He hadn't done a whole lot in the NFL. He's been a solid fourth string receiver and a kick returner who's taken a couple kicks back here and there, but overall not the most impactful player. He comes on to the Patriots, and when the Patriots signed him, I just knew Patriots have this thing of taking these good athletes but not very well known players and turning them into absolute spectacles to watch on the football field. And tell you what, he has done a lot for them this year. He's not put out the most outstanding numbers, but he came in and they had some injuries at running back, and he played running back for him, and he was the leader in fantasy that week. He's. All I'm trying to say here is that these two teams are loaded from 1 to 53 with talented players. And so, I guess offensively, I've got to give the edge to the Rams in this game. I think up and down the way that offense works is amazing. I think that they can move the ball whenever they want on whoever they want. And the Patriots, while they have a good offense, I really think age is affecting them. You kind of saw it in the Chiefs game last week. The offense kind of stalled in the second half. It didn't. They didn't score as many points as they did. They didn't have that dominant performance that they had in the first half. And I think the Rams are a more complete offense, round talent wise.
Yeah. Going along with that too, I think a lot of the focus has been on Rams defense going up against Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. When really I think it's going to come down to how well the Patriots defense can hold up Jared Goff and that offense, because I think it's going to be tough for Tom Brady. And so it's really going to, for the Rams to be successful, they have to overcome the Patriots defense, and if the Patriots want to win, they gotta slow down Todd Gurley and
C.J. Anderson. Yeah, that's I think going to be really difficult. Something that the Patriots offense has been able to do against defenses in the past is keep them off balance. Whenever I watch the Patriots, when their offense takes over a game, it's usually the first 2 or 3 possessions of the game before the defense kind of figures out everything.
Yeah.
But they run all sorts of misdirection and stuff to keep the defense kind of off Brady. Because everyone knows the Patriots and Tom Brady's biggest weakness is pressure up the middle.
Yeah.
And so they do their best to prevent people from bull rushing up the middle, whether it be sweeps or screen passes, whatever it may be. The Patriots' offense has been able to counteract that. This is probably the best defense they're going to face. They've faced this whole year, though. I really think that I've always thought the Rams. I mean, they won 13 games this season in the regular season. I still think they didn't quite live up to the potential that their offensive defense can play to. I think they could have gone 16-0 in the 16-0 in the regular season if they their team played out to their full potential all 16 games. I don't know. I just think that the Rams, the Patriots might have some success in the first quarter with their trickery and stuff. I think the Rams will adjust. I think that Rams team is too good of athletes to be beat by just offense playing defense. And so, I think in this game I've got to give the edge to the Rams. However, it's Patriots in the playoffs. I've been saying that ever since the playoffs started. It's Patriots in the playoffs, and there's something that happens in New England during the playoffs. It's almost mystical how they can they can lose a game to the Dolphins on a crazy last second hook and ladder play, and they kind of look like they're on their way out, and then show up in the playoffs and they're the best team in football again. I don't know how they do it, but it's pretty. I have to say, even though I really despise the Patriots, it's very impressive to watch, and we may never see a dynasty like this again. So I'll be rooting for the Rams tomorrow, but I'm gonna mix it up. Actually, I think the magic is gonna work in the Patriots' favor tomorrow. I don't know how they're gonna do it. If it's gonna be Falcons Super Bowl over again, where Edelman catches an insane circus catch. We watched that together. I think we watched that together. That one together, and wins in the game off that. I don't know. I can't pick against the Patriots anymore. I think it's on paper the Rams should win this game, and in my head the Rams should win this game. But it's just one of those things that I don't think I can pick against the Patriots anymore. They're winning every game, and I don't want to see it happen. But I can't see the Rams winning. Almost it's a rematch from 15 years ago when they met in the Super Bowl, I think. But I'm gonna go with Kurt Warner. Gosh, that team was good. That Rams team.
It was a really good team.
But I'm gonna go with the Patriots, Tyler, because I just can't pick against them.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, as bad as I want to see the Rams win, and definitely on paper, the Rams should win. Even if you go and look at all kinds of prediction websites and stuff, they're all kind of giving the edge to the Rams. But it's almost like this gut feeling of just, the Patriots are going to pull it off somehow.
Mm-hmm.
They're too witty, and unless Sean McVay can outwit the Patriots like the Eagles did last year, that's the only way they're going to be able to pull it off. But I don't see it happening.
Mm-hmm.
I know Wade Phillips is going to do a great job orchestrating that defense. He's going to mix it up and make it really hard for Brady. But I think the Patriots defense is going to do the same thing to Jared Goff and mess with his confidence and his lack. They're going to take advantage of his lack of experience on this stage. And I mean, the dude's only as old as us.
Yeah, he's our age.
Is this his second season?
Third, I think.
The
I think this
third?
is his third season. But I mean, yeah, I mean, he can't be. I mean, I'm 23. Are you 23 as well? Or are you 20?
24.
24. Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's our age.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Tom Brady's gonna overcome their obstacles, and Jared Goff is gonna have a harder time.
Yeah, I have to go that way. But I mean, it's just everything on paper is telling me that the Rams have a really good shot, and I think both teams have a really good shot of winning this game.
Yeah.
I mean, you brought this up yourself. Wade Phillips, defensive coordinator for the Rams. I mean, his defense with the Broncos in 2015 or 2016, 2015.
I think so. Yeah.
It was the 2015-2016 season. That's what it was. Absolutely made the Patriots look silly.
Yeah.
Like the offense did absolutely nothing, and that defense won them that game as well as the Super Bowl. It's, oh gosh, this is really difficult because my gut is telling me the Patriots are going to win just because it's that feeling that you just know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, they're 5-5 in Super Bowls. I mean, they've been to 10 and won 5, lost 5. And so I don't know why I'm so just sure that the Patriots are going to win this, but I think it does come down to Rams' inexperience in the limelight. I'm looking at the starters for the Rams, and Aqib Talib was in the Super Bowl.
Brandon Cooks.
Brandon Cooks, I think, was in a Super Bowl for the Patriots, actually. Yeah.
Last year.
Last year. There just isn't a C.J. Anderson. Okay, C.J. Anderson, backup running back. He was on the Broncos team that won. But there's not a ton of Super Bowl experience on that team. I mean, maybe I'm missing a couple people, but that's who stands out in my mind immediately as people who've been to Super Bowls. Then you look at the Patriots. I mean, the Patriots go every other year, it seems like. Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, Chris Hogan, Rob Gronkowski, that whole offensive line. And I mean, most of the defense has been to Super Bowl as well. I mean, there's a lot of experience and there's a lot of nerves to come with that. We saw that with the Panthers played the Broncos in that Super Bowl that we were just talking about. There was a lot of nerves and a lot of inexperience, and Cam Newton didn't step up to the moment. And
yeah,
I've as much as I hate to say it, I think I'm going to predict the Patriots to win the game tomorrow. All right, so if you let us know your Super Bowl predictions, what you think's gonna, or who you think's gonna win. If you want to throw down your scores as well, I'll throw down a score. I'm gonna say Patriots 27, Rams 20. I'm gonna go 27-20 Patriots.
Yeah. I'll go. I'll go 28-24 Patriots.
So close games, one possession games on both sides. So yeah, I do think it'll be a close game. I think the Patriots will reach in their bag of trips, or maybe bag of tricks, or maybe Bill Belichick really has sold his soul to the devil and make that happen. I don't know, but
I think people sell their soul to Bill Belichick.
Satan sold his soul to Bill Belichick. It's like a Chuck Norris joke. All right, so moving on to our final segment, which will be tough questions. Tyler, I'll go first. Mine's a little off football related, actually. What brand or company will have the best Super Bowl commercial?
Oh. Huh. That's a good one.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, I was trying to think of some like not just football questions. I think something a little off, and I was like, commercials. Yeah, the other reason people watch the Super Bowl.
I have a feeling Geico has something up their sleeve.
Who?
They've been playing like their old school commercials this past season. I think they're gonna do something fun.
Oh, I'd be interested to see Geico's. That's a good guess, actually. I hadn't thought of that one at all. I think that's a really good guess. You know, I always like the Doritos commercials.
Yeah.
There isn't a year that goes by that I'm not a giant fan of the Doritos commercials. One of my favorites of all time is when the little boy's sitting on the couch eating Doritos, and his mom has brought home a date, and so he sits down and starts to get to know this kid, and he reaches for the Dorito bowl, and the kid slaps his hand. And he says, "Don't touch my mama. Don't touch my Doritos."
Oh yeah. I remember that.
So that was probably one of my all-time favorite commercials of all time. So I'll go with Doritos. Although I really like Geico, I think that could be a really good one.
Doritos, they seem to have. Don't they have like multiple commercials?
Yeah, they have a couple. They run. Some guys, I think last year didn't like Tide have like 4 commercials, and they kind of told a story. Like it was with it was with the guy from Stranger Things. Why can't I think of his name? I can't think of the actor's name. Sheriff Hopper. Jim Hopper. David Harbour. That's his name. Right. David Harbour. I think they had like 4, and it was they did one that I think that was the Falcons Patriots game. They did like the live Super Bowl commercial or whatever, where he like comes out of it was Adam Driver, I think, comes out of the saloon, and he's like, "Well, it was quite a first half," and says the score and everything, and then like the set falls down all around him, and it's like supposed to be like a joke or I don't remember what the commercial was for, but there's been some good ones. I mean I do love the commercials with the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
All right, Tyler, what's your tough question? Your first one.
My first one was just roughing the passer. What to do about it?
Oh, we touched on it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think with roughing the passer, it's another one of those situations where you don't want to open it up to where you can have booth reviews every other play for roughing the passer. I think it would be one that you could maybe put into like what we were talking about with pass interference earlier, to where the coaches challenge only, where the coach can challenge it, but it can't be reviewed by the booth independently. I think that could be an option to it. I also think, I really think the rules as they're written currently aren't bad. I think refs just need to call it right. I think refs miss calls all the time. Every game refs miss calls. It's gonna happen. It's the fact of life. You can't penalize a ref for missing, one call a game. I think that's 1, 2, 3 calls. I mean, it happens. It's these big ones that change a game that you can't have, you can't allow to have. And I think, I don't know what can be done about it, because a lot of it comes down to just human judgment, and I really think the rules are okay as is. I think the no driving the quarterback into the ground. They've gotten a lot stricter, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I really you gotta be able to steer away from the shoulder taps, though. I get you're not supposed. You shouldn't slap a quarterback on the head mid play. That's literally players have gotten concussions from getting their helmet slapped by a coach or a player or whatever. I mean, that literally does happen.
Yeah.
But I really just think that the refs need to go to a camp. I don't know what they do during the off season, but you get they really need to get these calls right. I don't think that I think the rules are fine. It's just that the refs need to make the right calls. I know it sounds like a cop out, but it's one of those situations that you're trying to protect the guy. You don't want to put the quarterback at risk. But I do agree with you. Like, so I think that in general the refs got better at calling it as the season went on because this is a fairly new rule set that's come out for roughing the passer. But some of the things Clay Matthews would get called on. I mean, I remember that specifically because every week he'd get called for roughing the passer, and it's just like, really? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think there's a cut and dry answer to it. I just think that refs need to get better at their jobs. I'm not gonna lie.
I agree.
My second question. All right, so the past 2 weeks in the NFC, we've seen fake punts totally change the momentum of a game. And there's even, like, the Rams punter, Johnny Hecker, has a really good arm, actually, for a punter. It's been going around the NFL, or going around, like, social media and stuff, how good of an arm he has. And so my question is, do you think there'll be a fake punt in the Super Bowl?
Oh.
And if there is a fake punt, will it work? Will they get the first down?
I don't know. I would think, I'm not sure if it will or won't happen, but I want to say if the Rams decide to do, to go ahead and do a fake punt, I feel like it would work, just because they're so great at executing those. Mm-hmm. Even against the Patriots, which you got to think that they're prepping for something like that. But I don't know.
It'll be something we haven't seen yet. If there is a fake punt, I'm going to go with yes, because I think the Rams will. The Rams are here for the first time in 15 years or so. I think, and also this is a bit off topic, but it wouldn't be such a cool narrative. The Rams have been basically irrelevant since they lost to the Patriots in Super Bowl 37 or whatever one that was.
Yeah.
Would it be so cool for them to beat the Patriots and finally be, like, officially relevant again? Like, that'd be such a cool story arc. Me as a journalist would think that way, but like that would be such a cool story to have it that way. But back to the topic. I think the Rams are going to throw all everything at the wall this game. They don't care. You know, they're going to throw everything at the Patriots, and so I think they will fake a punt. I think it'll be something that we've not seen before. It'll be some crazy trickery, probably halfback pass or up back pass or jump pass or something like that to do it. I think Bill Belichick's going to have the defense ready, though, the special teams ready, and I don't think it'll work. I think every punt that Hecker lines up to kick, Patriots are going to be playing some sort of safe.
Tampa 2.
Yeah, Tampa 2. Some sort of safe
Cover
formation
4.
or just to run a straight defense against it. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see the Patriots playing it safe, not trying to block the punt, and just trying to prevent the big play. Because I know if the Patriots line up in punt block formation, Hecker would probably call an audible at the line and just chuck it to the tight end that turns around at the first down marker and gets it. Like, I think the Patriots will be smart about it because they've seen how the Saints got momentum off of a fake punt, how the Rams got momentum off a fake punt, and they're not going to let it happen to them.
Yeah. You got a good point. I could totally see Hecker lining up and just throw up a pick six or something and just have that be the turning point.
Mm-hmm. So We'll see. I don't think the Patriots will fake a punt. I think they're too conventional to do that. They don't. I don't think I've ever seen the Patriots run a fake punt ever in my life. I could be wrong, but I don't think I've ever seen them run a fake punt. So, Bill Belichick will just beat you senseless without having to do all that stuff.
5-yard checkdowns.
Yeah, exactly. So, Tyler, do you have a second one?
Yeah, so my second and final tough question. Do you think they'll play Sweet Victory at halftime?
Oh, I've heard that it's confirmed, but the thing is, I think it'd be out of place to play it at halftime. I think you play it at the end of the game at the Lombardi Trophy presentation. You start playing that over the loudspeakers. I think that would be fitting. I've heard it from a lot of different places that they're going to play it. I think they will. I think it's confirmed. SpongeBob in the Super Bowl. It's happening. We'll see, but I'm gonna go with yes on that one. I think it'll happen. If
I'll
not,
be outraged if it doesn't.
Yeah, they better, exactly. It's kind of one of those things. It's too memey not to happen. Like, you have to do it now. It's just got to happen. But I think it'd be fantastic to have them like presenting the winner with the Lombardi Trophy and just hear that over the back. Hear that in the loudspeakers, and it gets quiet, but you can still kind of hear it, and then the quarterback comes out. This is for LA or for New England or my family or whatever that is, and just sweet victory. That would be fantastic. I'd love to see that. Who's the halftime performer this year? It's why do I not know this?
I think Maroon 5, maybe.
Maroon 5. Maroon 5 is a headliner. So,
It's Travis Scott.
Yeah, Big Boy and Travis Scott as guests
okay.
on CBS. So yeah, Maroon 5. Remember our roommate McKeon had
He has their number.
He has Adam Levine's number in his phone. Thought that was so cool. But yeah, I'm actually gonna be at Jeff's for Super Bowl this Sunday. We're having like a bunch of big parties, so if you guys aren't doing anything, I don't know if you're gonna do IF with Kate's famly, or if you guys are gonna watch it at all, or
we'll watch it.
Okay, just making sure.
We're watching.
Yeah. If I don't think Jeff would mind if I invited you guys, but you don't have to come. But anyway, back to on topic. That'll wrap up our show for today. Let us know who you think's going to win the Super Bowl, or who you think is going to have the best commercial. If you guys are listening to this after the Super Bowl, let us know what you thought of the game, and what was your favorite commercial from Super Bowl 53. So let us know that, and we will hopefully be able to include you on next week's podcast. But with Tyler Sutton here, and I'm Travis Hughes, we're signing off. Goodbye, everybody. See you next week.